I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Well, how'd you end up over here anyway?
Well, you know those old westerns? The cowboys make a run for the border? This is my Mexico.
Hello and welcome back to Honda Live 1924. On today's episode, we're going to be installing the skid plate on a second generation 2020 Toyota Tundra. Notice the original one that came with the SR5 model is real flimsy. It's shaking, rattling, it's missing screws to hold it in place. All this was actually caused by the mechanics at the Toyota dealership over years. So before we put on the skid plate, we're going to go ahead and change our oil and filter. First off, you're going to remove this bolt. This is going to be the drain plug for the oil filter cartridge. So now we're going to be using our special service tool. What this is a special key that will be utilized to remove our oil filter from the Toyota Tundra. Just a quick alibi, if you haven't done so, make sure you insert a drain pipe so you can remove any excess oil that's inside the cartridge. If not, you're going to have a big mess. After that, make sure you wipe off any contaminants that are inside the oil filter housing. So as far as this filter cartridge, I didn't see any specific way to put it on, so make sure you slide it through and make sure it's seated firmly. Next, the large O-ring, make sure that you don't damage the groove portion when you're removing the O-ring. And we're going to be replacing it with one that comes with it. Now the second O-ring is going to be in the bottom. This is what holds the drain plug. Make sure you put the next one on it and just slide the bolt right back into place. There. Alright, so we'll recap. For this oil filter setup, we're going to replace the oil filter, both O-rings top and bottom. We're going to use our special tool to tighten the oil filter at 19 foot-pounds of torque. And we're going to tighten this drain plug at 9.5 foot-pounds of torque. That's going to be wrapping that up. Moving along, we're going to be using a ratchet with a 14mm socket to remove this drain plug.
A few minutes later.
Whoozoo! We're moving along. Already waited 30 minutes. So from here, we're going to go ahead and tighten the drain bolt at 30 foot-pounds of torque. You know, más. Whoozoo! Looks pretty good. Already got everything all nice and cleaned up from all the gunk residue. Oil filter is nice and shiny. Now we're going to go ahead and place the oil back in the motor. This second generation Tundra takes 8.5 quarts of oil. I already did so. As you can see right here, it's going to be in the second eyelet, which indicates that it is ready and good to go.
Menudo.
I love it. So now we're going to be using this jack so we can slide this skid plate into place. We're gonna use a jack to go ahead and hold it up. Trust me, I tried to do this by hand. You're better off using a jack. Next, we're gonna use our ratchet with a 13mm socket. We're gonna go ahead and tighten these bolts, one on the driver and one on the passenger side. This will hold the front half of the skid plate. Alright. So you're gonna see these silver bolts that are going through the frame. We're gonna go ahead and use this black metal that's wedge shaped like to hold the top of the bolt. Notice again right here, this black piece. We're gonna put it on top with a bolt that's gonna be a 13mm. Next, you're gonna go ahead and push these thumb tabs into place. There's gonna be 3 of them, and I firmly recommend this skid plate because you're gonna have free access to the oil filter. As you can see right here, you got all this space to work with instead of having to remove the entire skid plate with the old one. Notice right there how much space we have to work with. So basically the problem I was having was the original OEM skid plate from the SR5 blocks the oil filter, so it is really hard to get the oil filter off. You have to remove the entire skid plate. I was noticing that the dealerships were not doing it correctly since my bolts were missing, so that prompted me to buy the skid plate. Another problem that I had was the dealerships were not even changing my oil filter cartridge. I found out because I actually wrote on the oil filter to make sure if they were changing it, and to my surprise, they were not changing it. After confronting the dealership, they gave me everything that they owed me, and I canceled the warranty. With the toggle switch, you're going to go ahead and switch to the gear tab. You're going to go to vehicle settings and click down to maintenance, and it's as easy as that. Click on yes, and you are done. I really hope this video helped somebody. If you have any questions or recommendations, just feel free to inbox me. Thanks, everyone.